Hey everyone, I am Victoria Valdez. I am the owner and the clinical operations director of Tri-Synergy Counseling. And today I'm going to go over with you guys about what Lens Nuerofeedback is and how it improves your mental health. And I'm going to talk about brain waves and how brain waves are important to our mental health functioning. But before we get to that, I'm going to talk about a little bit about who I am, my group practice is located in Brentwood, about brainwaves, what Lens is and what it does and how it improves your brainwaves. All righty, here we go. So again, I'm Victoria Valdez. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I specialize in providing mental health support for children, teens, parents, and adult women in the state of Tennessee. I'm a parent coach, a wellness educator, a Lens Nuerofeedback provider, and the leader of the Spanish-speaking therapist group for the state of Tennessee. I'm a mom of 3. I'm a wife. I love Latin dancing and creative writing and doing things outdoors with my family. A little bit about the group practice, that it's located in Brentwood. We pretty much have a great team that can service children, teens, couples, families, and individual adults. We have counseling intensives, parenting services. We do provide immigration psychological evals. We provide Lens Nuerofeedback and wellness services as well. So if you'd like to hear more about us and what we do, you can reach out to us and check us out on the web. Okay, so let's talk about our healthy brain waves. So if we are having brain waves that are out of balance, then our actual mental health and wellness is out of balance. It's really a vital key to our mental health and wellness. Not the only key, but it's a very important vital key. So what are brain waves? Your brain is a powerhouse of electrical activity. It's really amazing. Every thought, every feeling, every action is fueled by brain waves. And that's that synchronized electrical impulses that guide your brain's communication system. So it's really amazing what it can do. And when it's imbalanced, then that's when we're going to suffer that mental health issues, or we're not going to feel really good. We're going to have a bad mood maybe, or more stress levels. And so it really does affect our well-being. And so how are brain waves tracked, right? Well, the cool thing is there are over 100 years worth of research on brain waves. And what the research has found are through EEGs, which is kind of these sensors that are placed on your head, and we're able to record and monitor and look at brain waves, which are different frequencies. And those are the electrical impulses in the brain. And if they are overworking or underworking or difficult to access, then again, we're not feeling well. We might be dealing with depression or anxiety. And so the result of brainwaves is really just like evidence of our neurons in our brain firing together. It's really amazing. I love this little clip because it kind of shows how that firing and wiring in our brain. And so we know that these electrical impulses are there and important because we can see the brain waves that they're emitting from it. So I think it's important, before I deep dive a little bit more about, okay, so what else do the brain waves do, right? I'm going to tell you about why we brought Lens to Tri-Synergy Counseling. One of the reasons was that I saw a huge improvement in my brother-in-law, who had a really significant traumatic brain injury when he was a young teenager. It was life-altering for him, and he really improved with as little as 8 sessions. So that really made us intrigued. And because we're the family of ADHD, we have generational ADHD in our family, I wanted to bring my children and myself, who are the ADHDers, to get Lens to see what happens. And it was truly transformational. I was like, how do I get this like yesterday? The things that I saw for me and my 2 children that were dealing with the ADHD is an extreme increase of mental clarity and concentration. Our mood was so much better. There was less irritability, just an immediate change. And that was really outstanding. As a licensed therapist myself, I am an advocate for medications when we know that that's what's working. But to have something that isn't a med that is significantly bringing, um, concentration and improving mood without the use of medication, that's a game changer. One of my children was on meds, and this was truly transformational. Just what else? I noticed that you guys who are parents or loved ones have loved ones with ADHD that are children or parenting kids with ADHD. That low window of frustration tolerance, right? Totally easier for them to control and manage their big feelings. They were able to follow through with tasks much easier. I was able to get things done. I was feeling motivated. It was just, again, a transformation. I wanted to get it as soon as possible for myself, my family, and for my clients. So what is this Lens Neurofeedback system, right? So what is it, Victoria? What does it do? How does it work? Give us the deets. So Lens Nuerofeedback stands for Low Energy Neurofeedback System. And it's a type of EEG that works a lot more quickly than traditional neurofeedback. And if you're familiar with traditional, they usually do a brain mapping, have it sent out to be interpreted, brought back, and then you do kind of like a set. And then let's see what happens. You might notice by session 20 a change. What's different is that with Lens, you're going to have an immediate effect. Most people within the first several hours or instantly, most people instantly in the room are going to have a sense of immediate relaxation. And so Dr. Len Osh created this system. He was a traditional neurofeedback provider for several years, and he thought there has to be a faster, more efficient way. Well, he came up with it. That's where he came up with Lens. So what does Lens do? Lens records your brain waves in real time and then mirrors it right back into your brain. And what it allows your brain to do is autocorrect itself, reset itself, regenerate its own self-healing. One of the things I'll never forget about being a trainer is the example they gave is, I love this example, is imagine if you're walking down the street after you ate some like really awesome spaghetti and you have sauce, maybe a little, like, let's say it was a meat one and you got a little meat and sauce on your chin, but you don't notice. And you're walking around everywhere, but you don't see it, you don't feel it. Not until you step in front of a mirror. And once you step in front of the mirror and you see that sauce on your chin, you get to do something about it. You can autocorrect it, you can fix it, right? You can wipe it away, clean it, make sure it's all gone. You can make a change and do something. That is exactly what your brain is doing. The neurofeedback puts a mirror, the Lens Neurofeedback system puts a mirror in front of your brain so that your brain can do something and change the brain waves all on their own. It's really cool. So a Lens Neurofeedback system, the waves from it, that when it records and mirrors it back, are 1,000 times less than the frequencies emitted through a cell phone. So it's really safe. We can use it with children as young as 1 day old who have maybe experienced some type of birth trauma. Very effective, safe. It's been used with animals, has been used well over 30 years, and no reports of anything adverse, just improvement. So let's talk about like what are the brainwaves and what do they do? Now there's, like I said, there's over 100 years worth of research on brainwaves. So please feel free, if I wet your whistle and you are really thirsty and want to know some more, go down that Google search and use your web browser to search because there's a lot. But we're just going to go over super brief of functioning. So we have delta. Delta is what helps deep rested sleep, dreamless sleep, that non-REM, that trance state, that unconscious state. It improves our immune system. We know that it reduces stress levels and it promotes our state of physical healing. And it's even involved in tissue repair and tissue regeneration. That's mind-blowing. We know that with research, all the EEGs that we've collected, researchers and data, that we can look at an ADHD brainwave patterns versus someone who doesn't have ADHD, and we can see the differences. It's outstanding. I think one day soon it may be used as a form of diagnosis. It isn't right now. But what we can see is that people with ADHD, they're going to have a lot of delta during waking hours when we're supposed to be concentrating. And delta's for sleep. So You can see how that would be difficult for somebody if their brain waves are functioning opposite of what they should be. Then you have alpha. So alpha enhances our overall sense of relaxation. It helps us improve our fatigue so we have more energy. It helps us quickly and efficiently accomplish things. I like to think of motivation. It helps us feel happy and experience a good mood. And it's a sense of calmness that we have from it. It's used very vital for learning, like in the classroom setting or workshop or on the job. We know that low levels of delta, alpha, and theta are associated with levels of depression. So let's talk about theta. Theta is another deep relaxation. It's that brainwave that you experience in like a light sleep. You're about to drift off to sleep. It really helps improve our mood and reduces stress. So I like to think of delta, alpha, and theta like a triple threat on stress. Lots of stress relaxation there. So if any of those are out of whack, really under functioning, then that's why we're going to feel lots of stress, tension in our body. We're not going to be resting well. We might be feeling depressed and anxiety since it's hard to feel relaxed. We know that low theta, difficulty with memory, concentration, relaxation, you're going to see a lower creativity and lower emotional awareness and emotional expression. Then you have beta. So beta is our faster one, and it's used for like mental math or math problem solving, improving. It helps improve our memory, our cognitive performance, our future planning, our critical thinking. That's what beta's job is. And we know that very low beta reflects, we see a lot of ADD. And then too much beta, you're going to see higher levels of anxiety because of that planning and planning for the future. So we tend to be overthinking when our beta is way too high. And then we have gamma. Gamma is that high level information rich processing. It's the binding of information found throughout our brain. So when our brain needs to simultaneously transfer information from different areas, that's gamma. I also know I've got a TBI video, traumatic brain injury, where I talked about that gamma is really vital in if you have an injury. Gamma is like, just like, imagine a Care Bear shooting out of emotion of love into that area to help regenerate healing. But on the flip side, if you don't do anything to regulate that gamma back down, it kind of just stays there and gets stuck on overload. And so that, again, that's the testament of how important balanced brain waves are. And so here I'm just recapping a little bit about anxiety on the brain. With the brain waves, you're going to see decreased alpha, decreased theta and delta, and you're going to see an increase of beta. And for ADHD, you're typically going to see a brain pattern of a lot of theta, delta, and alpha, an overabundance of it really, and low beta typically is what you would see. And then with depression, you're going to see very low beta, a low delta, theta, and alpha. Okay, so I talked about depression, anxiety, and ADHD, but what else can Lens do? Really, there's so much. It's really one of my favorite things about being a provider is we're in weekly consultation groups where we can staff cases that might have been challenging or unique or something we've never thought of even thinking Lens could help. And the amount of things that people have walked into Lens provider's door and we were like, we're not really sure if it's going to help, but let's give it a try. And it actually helped. So it's amazing what it can do. But overall, we have a good sense over the last 30 plus years that it helps with mood, concentration, motivation, chronic pain management, processing of trauma and grief. It helps reduce addiction by resolving underlying issues. It helps improve sleep. It helps reduce anger issues or explosiveness. It helps support and improve any learning difficulties, reduces stress. It helps with autism through regulation. It helps reduce stemming. And in some cases, it helps with that neurological learning process, auditory or speaking. So very, very, very helpful tool. So let's talk about a little bit about the system. What does it look like, right? What is this neurofeedback? What are the mechanisms, right? So what you see here pictured is you've got the head sensors, which is the blue, black, white, and green wires. And we move those around the 21 sites in your head. And then that little box is the neurofeedback. That's what's actually computes the data into the computer system software. And then on the right, those wires are red, green, white, and brown and black. Those are body sensors, great for pain management and for children who typically need less neurofeedback. And so it's a way to give a lower dose of their own recorded biofeedback. On the right hand, this is what you would see if you're sitting in our office. You get to see your own brain waves in real time as we're doing a session with you. You can kind of sit there and look if you want to. Typically, you just close your eyes and relax, but there's only two waves present because the data that's being represented there is an overview or an average. This is a brain map that we do during our intake, so we can see where the lowest functioning here. So there's 21 sites, and we can see here in this brain map that the lower underneath 10 is T5, T6, P4, C4, 01, or 02, and we would work starting from the lowest, less functioning or lower functioning side to bring the brain back into balance. This is what we call a suppression map. And this is a cool representation. So if in this brain map that I showed you, it's a 9-year-old with ADHD. And here it's orange because orange is a representation of the areas in those brain waves or those head sites are under functioning. If it was pink, that means they're working too hard, over functioning. And so we want to bring them back into balance. So what you would see is them turn blue, which is a pretty cool way to track that change. And even though the brain maps are important, one of the best telling ways is when the client reports how they're feeling. That's the most powerful, is their own self-observation of the change. When you work with us, we give you a workbook that has tips and strategies on how to have the best experience with your Lens Nuerofeedback, what to look for in between sessions, and just promoting brain health and wellness. And this is a good tool for you to be able to use in your workbook when you see your brain maps and know exactly what target area is dealing with what. For example, in this snippet here from the ADHD brain map, we have FP1. FP1 is located right here, and that's the area of the brain that's been mapped for attention, focus, and depression. FP2 is a representation of this area of the brain where there's the location of anxiety, impulsivity, addiction. And so this kind of shows you what area was being worked with and stimulated. Although I will say that when we stimulate a certain area, it really does cause a ripple effect because like that little video I showed you, they're all interconnected. Okay, so let's hear, right? Like what are the clients saying, Victoria? How are they feeling better and different, right? So these are self-reports or parent reports. We do a post 48-hour form that is vital to know how well the lens is working or anything we need to change. So it's important that clients fill that out within by the 48-hour mark. And this is what they report back to us, that they're feeling overall relaxed feelings, mental clarity, easier to think clearly, increased motivation. They can problem solve better. They have an increased relaxed state. They're able to follow instructions easier. They're able to follow through on tasks. They're less irritated. They're able to handle changes or go with the flow. Reduction of anxious feelings, elimination or reduction of panic attacks. Overall, less anxious thoughts, improved confidence, improved sleep patterns, improved mental math. I've heard clients say that after a dose of Lens Nuerofeedback, they went and did their college test and they aced it for the first time because they were able to recall working memory stuff or recall long-term memory, things that they had studied with much ease, and their nervous systems relaxed so they didn't deal with test anxiety. It's really, really powerful. And the cool thing is that was all within the first 48 hours. That's what's really remarkable. Let's see here. Check myself here on time. All right. All right. So how long, right? You want to know, I talked about the first 48 hours. So how long does the change last, right? How many sessions do we need? Let's get the deets on that, Victoria, right? Well, for children and adolescents, their brains are more flexible. You got more neuroplasticity. So typically they're going to need less neurofeedback sessions. On average, depending on what the goal is, you're looking at maybe 6 sessions to 11, sometimes even less than that. Everybody's different. Not everyone, this isn't a one size fits all, right? So we do have to work with what your needs are. As for an adult, our brains are a little less flexible. On average, we might be looking to 11 to 20, depending on what the goal is. Now, if you're working with something that is more complex, so let's think like complex trauma, PTSD, or OCD, then we're looking at longer sessions, like more of them and more frequently. When we're looking at neurological issues such as autism, ADHD, or Parkinson's, yeah, we're looking at 40 to 100 sessions. I like to think of the brain change. Once we stimulate it and make a change, it's like a rubber band. It wants to snap back, right? And so with the complex issues, it's been like that for so long that the brain wants homeostasis. It wants to go back to the regular of how it was functioning. And so we're cutting new neurological pathways for the first time. We're disrupting negative or dysfunctional brainwave patterns and really replacing them with new ones. And so it takes time to strengthen them if it's a more complex issue or neurological issue. But it is worth it. It hands down, it is worth it. Okay, so what's our wellness investment? Okay, so our brain maps are 250. It's 60 minutes. You get your intake, your brain map. We get to tell you how your brain's functioning and where we would start in your next segments. So each session after that is $100. It's about 25 minutes. We do have discount packages. If you buy in bulk, you get discounted prices for that. We recommend that you start with 6 to get the best. Let's get our feet in there, get in there and get some change. 6 is going to be the best starting place. You might not need more than that at all, especially if it's a younger teenager or kiddo. But 6 is our recommended starting. We do have family discounts. If you yourself and you want your teen or your kid to also do it, we do have reduced fees for that, or package deals for family members. We do have offer a limited number of sliding scales to try to meet families where they're at. If we can and we have availability, we will do that. And then we do offer some payment plans you can utilize, like Afterpay or whatnot, to also purchase your packages. So let's talk about frequency. It really depends. But we typically say for non-complex issues, we say about 1 time a week, starting off, and then we move to biweekly to 1 time a month, and then see you later. If we're looking at something more complex, let's say the client is very distressed, is thinking of self-harming, we're looking at a more intense approach, which is like 3 to 4 times a week to get that quick disruption, rapid fire disruption, and forming new neurological pathways and supporting the client in that way. But if it's not something more complex or more dire or urgent, then you're looking about 1 time a week. Please visit our Google business page. You're going to see the reviews that we have from Lens Nuerofeedback. And just to read 1 or 2 here, this person saw 4 times. Destiny felt less anxious. The depression wasn't nearly as prominent. Just in as little as 4 sessions. This is an adult client. Their reduction in OCD, their husband and child saw that they were less cranky and more happy. They would recommend this to everyone. It's a miracle treatment. They were less distracted. They made leaps and bounds in as little as 4 sessions. So pretty awesome. Whitney said just after 2 rounds of Lens, they noticed a significant improvement in reduction of headaches, less feelings of anxiousness, and deeper sleep. Aubrey, she said that her anxiety disappeared. She's having more sunny days than gloomy. She's feeling happy, worry-free life, definitely recommend Lens. It was a complete game changer. So those are just a few of our client feedback, or just what clients have said about the improvements that they have gotten. So we hope to service your family. We do offer specials throughout the year. If you're watching us, this is during the seasons of January, and we have a New Year's special going on. And so please visit throughout the year our website frequently. If you're looking for a special on brain mapping or reduced packages, we do offer those from time to time. We hope to service your family soon.